Hello, Reed White here. Today I'm going to discuss the decisions I made when painting this purple iris. The big dilemma with this one is the white is very transparent, so your underdrawing is going to show through. And so my solution was to avoid the charcoal and paint it with dioxide purple as the underdrawing. So just because you end up trying to go back in with all these really light purples, which are also very transparent, trying to cover up every single charcoal bit, and you lose a lot of the whimsical, energetic brush marks. So I went through, I projected the drawing again, a time saver, huge time saver, and did the initial drawing in the dioxide purple. Then I painted the white. So I let the purple dry, mixed it with Galkid light so it would dry in about 12 hours. I was able to hit it with the white the next day, and you could still see it through, see the purple through. And even if you don't cover that purple, it's a nice variety of mark to see that layer underneath of a muted purple. So a real benefit. And after I killed all the underdrawing off with the white, I did my background layer of greens with let's see, probably a phthalo turquoise, permanent green, sap green, and cadmium green. I didn't really mix a lot of, well, I did. I mixed some titanium white with them, and I used the phthalo turquoise, which is a really, really dark color, instead of like a black, to blacken up. I basically used the phthalo turquoise to blacken up the other colors. And I did just a background wash of the green to get some nice textures and elements to paint on top of, and just to once again kill off every little bit of the canvas so you don't end up going back in and like you're repairing your painting right out of the gate, just to cover up all the little pock marks of the canvas showing through. So I just scrubbed that in, that initial layer. Then I went back in and painted my purples with, I think I used probably these guys here, Mars Violet, Quincentrione Violet, Cobalt Violet, and Magenta, and then the dioxide purple as well. Some marks in the petals have like a watercolor transparency to them. They have a lot of, or more Galkid light. You have to watch out. The Galkid light will yellow your color. But with purple being the complement of yellow, it doesn't really alter the hue. So you're kind of safe with yellowing your purple. I didn't really have to worry about it. So to get that real washy transparent watercolor look, I probably used this, which is a number 2 Filbert synthetic brush. I would load it up with my mixture of Galkid Light and oil paint. After my brush is loaded, I probably just barely dipped it in some mineral spirits, dabbed that initial little drop off, and then made my mark. And you can get a real nice washy mark. With that, it's going to pool and puddle at the very bottom. So quick, get rid of that, and you can like suck it up. It's kind of a race. So went back in and painted out my purples once again. Used a fan brush to get some of these nice like combed strokes. A lot of stuff up in there is probably fan brush. And again, using my underpainting of the underdrawing of the dioxide purple as a map, also looking at my photo, and if I did cover up an area with white and I couldn't see my underdrawing, you always have the initial map to draw from. And so you don't want to, you don't, it doesn't matter if you cover it. There was a really cool assignment I once had by Glenn Began where you were told to do a drawing, and you poured your heart and soul into that drawing. And then the next assignment was to erase that drawing completely. And then the next assignment was to redraw it. And what the point of the assignment was that you can redraw stuff. And what it does is it teaches you not to be afraid to completely cover. It's like if you wanted a really crazy mark that captured the speed of the mark, you know, and like the viscosity, just like you could come in and just with a destroy your painting, and then go back in and repaint, and which is a very freeing thing to know. It doesn't matter if you cover up your stuff, because you can always just redo it, and it's so it opens up a whole new possibilities. So then I went back in and added some more textures in my greens. And with the greens, I'm leaving them real whimsical, just to have it. There's secondary. They're supposed to be in the background, blurry, which will bring the flower into the foreground. The crisp lines of this item, in theory, will bring it into the foreground, and the blurred lines will push things into the background. Let's see. Then the yellow in here, you can see in the center of the iris, I think what I did there was a wet, while the purple was wet, I came in with my yellow on top of it, and so it's wet on wet is wet paint on top of wet paint. So it's going to bleed and mix, and it's very uncontrolled. But you get some really cool effects. Again, probably be really quick. Be ready to soak up a drip before it runs if you don't want it, you know. It'd be really hard to clean up yellow on this white. That would stain. So, but you want it, you want to push your limits so there's a nice thick bit of paint. You don't want it too runny and too thin, or you'll lose a lot of your pigment. So the yellow is on top of wet purple, which is going to mix, and the purple is going to kill off the chroma, whatever, the intensity of the yellow, which I want because it's supposed to be in this shadow area. And the purple, being the complement of the yellow, is not going to push the yellow to either orange or green. It'll just keep it right on the yellow hue. So, but it'll be a darker value, and it will be a lower chroma, or less intense color, which would be, it makes it look like it's in shadow. And then the more rich, that's probably a cad yellow deep, and then I probably have maybe a little bit of lemon yellow, but probably a cad yellow light, cadmium yellow light, with a touch of white on top here and there, but just real sparse. It's almost, oil paint's awesome because it can be thick and opaque, and you know, you can cake it on with a trowel, you know, or it can be watered down so it's a washy watercolor looking texture. And so it's this one I really utilize that transparent, translucent watercolor aspect of the oil paint. Let's see. I think that's all I got to say about this one. Thanks for your time. If you found any of this of value, please like and subscribe, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.